defense last year and were fine. So, but they don't have a lot of kids coming back besides their quarterback, who's a nice player. So, if this is a year that anybody on the western side or central Iowa thinks, you know, maybe that monkey isn't there, maybe that threat of Valley isn't there as much. So.
Well, yeah, the east side is going to be loaded this year. We'll talk about them in just a few moments. But in the central part of the state, one of the always more daunting conferences is that Central Conference, as it's loaded year in, year out. And Southeast Polk is one of those teams, Dave, that we think could be laying in the weeds. Coach Denny Moeller back again with his team, and he had some health questions. And also they lose Jeff Woody. We'll hear from the coach in just a few moments as you're watching.
You know, it's one of those things that, you know, if you listen to the right people like your wife and everything, and do the things that you're supposed to do and try to not be get too excited about certain things, you can control that. So I think I've been able to do that in the last few months, and look forward to this year.
Really work. Welcome back to the 2009 high school football preview show. Comments there from Denny Moeller. He's going to be back, but he's got some huge shoes to fill this year. As, well, Jeff Woody is gone. He's now walked on at Iowa State. They need to find a running back, but they've got a pretty good quarterback, though, too, returning for Southeast Polk.
I think they're dangerous just because when you lose a great player like that, and you got those great training blue barrels that they had in the background that we were laughing about a little bit. I mean, that makes a big difference. But you know, Denny has two great coordinators on offense and defense with Starkey and Zelenovich. Makes a big difference. I think they felt a little bit like last year was a lost leader, and I think that they have something to prove. They had a great team last year, but maybe when you just look at the sheer numbers, they are in that class right now. They're in that class with Ankeny Valley as far and Waukee, I think, as far as generating numerous football players, and I think that spells, you know, good things for them. So people, I think, will say, oh, Jeff Woody's gone, blah, blah, but they got the leadership at quarterback, and it seems like he's been there, well, because they always have a 3-year starters at quarterbacks ever since Kyle. So I'm with you. I think that they're, you know, he's calm too. He doesn't let you know everything that's going on. Denny doesn't.
Moeller of Southeast Polk, his team is a part of the Dome Busters we've got this year. Davenport, Assumption, Waukee, Ottumwa, Cedar Rapids, Kennedy, Xavier, and Sioux City North on that Dome Buster list. Dave, what do you like about that list?
Never count out Assumption just because of the tradition. In the CIML, I think those teams are probably undervalued, underappreciated, and all three of them have plenty of kids coming back. I think what's neat is a few years ago, Xavier's run, it was one of those when they met Southeast Polk in the title game. It'll be nice to see a team over there emerge. It seems like Cedar Falls and Bettendorf are the teams that are going to make the finals. Every once in a while, Wash crashes the party, and they got the Hawk back there this year, and we'll talk about him coming up. But, you know, one of those teams in Cedar Rapids always has the possibility. Xavier proved that. But Sioux City North seems to be the team up there in the northwest part of the state that has the best opportunity. But, yeah, any of these teams can sneak in. Of course, our more powerful teams we got coming up here in a little bit.
One of those other teams that we saw on the list was Waukee. Their head coach, Scott Carlson, well, the coaches have spoken about the new artificial surfaces we're seeing, Dave, pop up around everywhere. I mean, Iowa's got it. Northern Iowa just put in the new synthetic surface. And then now the high schools are getting into this game. Pella Christian has it. Looks beautiful, but it's not grass.
Don't forget, little Martinsdale St. Mary's is doing it too. So, I mean, it's getting to the point where if you got people in place, you can plan, you can get it done. I think it does so many good things for your facility that it just outweighs playing on grass. I don't know how you feel about it traditionally. Had a chance to be in Kent Stadium a few months ago, and it's definitely looks and feels different. And you know, with your ag background, I imagine it just maybe that gets to you a little bit.
It certainly does. It's not mud, especially if it rains. And that's what you want to see as a fan. You want to see them play it, and players want to play in the mud.
Yeah.
And now you get to play in little black little
well, let's do this for you then. Okay. If something happens where there's a good rainstorm, we move it to the practice field. And I think things would be fine because they don't want to, you know, they don't want to tear up anything over there anyway. So all the fans could just circle around like they did in my hometown where there's no bleachers. Do that.
Here's a segue for you. A team that is still going to play on grass this year, the Ankeny Hawks, and they're part of our